Hello, welcome back to the channel where we are making a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. So, Squinch, to catch you up, we did not finish the demo by April 1st, but we've got most of the mechanics. Like, I think we've got basically all the mechanics we need, and now it's just going to be piecing the new overworld map together, and then doing a lot of playtesting and polishing up to make sure it's ready for Steam. So the last thing we did here was we can uncorrupt the water from purple to blue, and that's going to be upon successfully playing the lute song that you get here. So there's one thing I want to try to fix with this. What's cool is the way we did it is basically overriding all the purple water in the game to become blue once we've done that. So we're not modifying the global map.lua, but you can see that they're purple water in the global map, but the little script we wrote kind of just renders it renders blue on top of the purple. But then again, this is technically, let me look at this. Because actually, now that I think about it, this is jacked up still, because we've got this only in we've got this only in this tome success state. So we do have to figure out a more permanent fix to get the uncorrupted water lasting a little more persistently through the overworld. So let's take a look at what we even did here, because I'm forgetting. So we have this thing called water cleansed, and that just ups the alpha channel for rendering some cleansed waters. We cycle through. We have this method called cleanse the global water, in which we go through our animatables table, and we actually update the tile IDs to become starting at a clean water, and then we insert an animatable that is now counting for the cleansed water animatable instead of. So yeah, we do flush our animatables. Okay, so this would work globally. If we were to print up the state machine for our game, I'm pretty sure we're switching back to a play state at the end of the transition here. And we do. So like, as long as, I didn't quite get there, but I did so much stuff. I got controller support working, which wasn't even on the list for last month. I got the touch input handling rehauled, which wasn't on the docket last month. So now touch works for the global input system, so I don't have to double code anything anymore. Now I just code it based on the button, and then the button is handled versus on touch or on keyboard or on controller. So that's insane progress. And then also there was another thing I did. I was stuck for 3 days. I worked on getting for 3 days I worked on getting step collision detection for Tashio, because we kept having these like clipping issues at low frame rates, and we only had low frame rates because of the web deployment. But it turns out the web deployment was only slow because I was zipping the whole Git repo, hidden files and all, which were like swelling up the whole build. So once I omitted the hidden .git files, then the web deployment sped back up to over 60 FPS. So, 3 days. I don't regret spending the time on that, but that definitely affected how much stuff I was doing. And then, it's taken me almost 4 days to get this normal water to render on top of corrupted water, because I tried a couple different things. So yeah, altogether, we finished a whole dungeon. We finished the entire upgrade shop in the refinery with a new NPC, which also wasn't on the list for last month. I think I realized I needed the refinery about halfway into the month. So, yeah, we didn't quite finish, but we did do a lot of progress, which is great. And the goal this month, the goal is I'm hoping that in the next week or two, I get a demo out ready for playtesting so I could send it to people and they can try to break the game so that I can get a list of bugs that I need to fix. Just get some playtesting done, because the goal is we can get the game demo listed up on Steam by the end of this month. So I'm hoping everything can be uploaded and processed and approved to be listed on Steam by the end of this month, which means we need to ship the demo to playtesters, this week and next week, and then a week of polish, and then a week of hopefully getting approved by Steam. So I know we can't really control how fast Steam approves it or rejects it, but hopefully we can do our part to get it ready, and then we'll have a Steam demo on live, which would be really awesome. And then I have the loot song in mind, but I haven't transcribed it into game code, so I still need to do that. And then we need to trigger this Tome 1 success state if we're on a certain screen, which is the I think we're gonna do it off of Mage's Castle, because right now pressing N changes us to the cleanse water state, which teleports us to this stage, because this is the one that kind of just has the most water for you to see the change. So I think it would be cool to have the riddle end us up here, where this is where we play the first music on the high tower up here, and then we cleanse the water. So that's the issue right there. When we go and change this animatable, it starts us back at the first frame of this cleansed water animatable, which if our water is on frame 2 or something, it would cut instantly. Excuse me. So that's the last thing I want to fix here, is that once we trigger this state, hopefully we can pull the appropriate frame at the appropriate time. If we're in the middle of stage frame 2, we pull to a cleansed water frame 2, and then have the same timing so that it is a seamless blend into the water, and then we're in the play state now. And then that'll be the end of the demo, is where we cleanse this water, and then there will be a little bridge. Oh, and you know what? Yeah, I do want to do Dark Temple. That shouldn't be hard. We basically just need to add a transparent warp zone here, and if you try to walk into the Dark Temple from the bottom here, it'll dump you into a room where it is very dark and you can't see where you're going, and there's going to be some bat spawns there. And I think I'll code out where it's at least for the demo, since we don't have an actual place in here, it'll be impossible to get any further. But it's basically just to tease you that you need to come back here when you get the yellow tunic. So that's gonna be the goal. That'll be super easy, and then we just need to do the overworld map. I want to add some corrupted geckos onto the world around here. We'll change this so it's not the autumn leaves here, but maybe just fade into the desert, and then we'll block off the endpoints closing up to the other biomes with the particle systems that we've got for both the forest, which is rain, the ice, which is snow, and then desert, which is sand. So we'll have to build out, it'll basically be maybe 2 or 3 days of making a couple new sprites, and then a day or two of drawing map, just drawing map and doing some overworld level design. So I think it's a reasonable amount of work to get done for the next 2 weeks before the playtest is ready, and then a week or two of playtesting, and then submit out to Steam for the demo, which is going to be super cool. So yeah, I think today we're going to be working on trying to fix this little bug about the animatables. which shouldn't be too bad, but I couldn't figure out last time, so who knows how long it'll take. But if we can do that, then we can work on, maybe we work on the Dark Temple or something tonight after, if we can get that done, and then that'll be nice, because then we just have to worry about making new sprites, doing the new overworld design, and then doing all the little stuff, which is like just like little polished stuff. Like right now we can't go into the pause inventory when we're in the refinery. We need the refinery to be stone instead of wood. I want to add like a little animated smelter or something in the refinery. So like I wanted to add like little smoke coming out of the top of the refinery, like she's running the smelter or whatever you call it, whatever crucible, I don't know what you call it. But yeah, we've got the dungeon. We would need to build out the end of the dungeon. Once you exit the dungeon, we need to build a little pathway for you to come out and actually get the tome in a treasure chest. So that's how you would unlock the tome. And then a lot of the polish is like, we can't be switching to any element because we don't necessarily have them, so we need to kind of lock them down. And then we can't be switching to any tunic because we can't really lock them down. We can't really switch to any tome sheet because we don't have it. We have to kind of lock it down. So that's part of the polish. And then also little stuff like I don't want you to be able to cast a spell if you're inside. So if you're in the refinery, I don't want spell casting to be going on, or maybe we keep it in the refinery, but other places. Gosh, there's a lot of stuff. We haven't added hearts, so you can't really gain health just yet, and we don't have an actual bed in the inn, which you're supposed to be able to exchange some gold coins for a bed which will heal you, because the meditation idols don't heal you, they just replenish your vibrancy. And then we need there's a bunch of little stuff for the polish. So it definitely isn't a small feat to get done in the next 2 or 3 weeks, ready for the playtest. But we need to get going. We need to, because I'm thinking about if we're going to ship the game hopefully in a year from now, that gives us 3 months to do every major biome and everything else in the game, which is like cinematics, NPCs, storyline, dialogue, side quests, dialogue, all of that system, which is not easy. And even like 3 months per biome is like, we have to do a bunch of level design and overworld design. We have to do dungeon design. We have to do boss design as well as new enemies. So that's a ton of stuff to do in 3 months, and we'd have to do that back to back to back for the next year. Every 3 months we just pump out a new biome, new enemy, new boss, new dialogue, cinematic, and new song for the loot to unlock the next biome. And that's not even to say the second part of the game, which is the puzzles once you've cleansed the biome. So that has to fit in there somewhere as well. So there's a lot of stuff. But we're doing good. We got a lot done this past month, so we're gonna keep chugging along. Yeah, we're gonna have to make a list of like the minimal, the MVP for the demo here. But we're doing good. Yeah. So the idea here is we have a new animatables for our player, or for our tome success state, which happens when we play the correct song. But the thing is here, do we render our animatables? Okay, so I think the thing that's tough is in an animatable is just, see, it is right here. Because the hard part is when we run cleanse the global water, what it does is it clears out the animation table first thing. So we lose reference to what frame we were on we lose reference to what the timer was for as we go through frames. So we would want to kind of snag those values so we can update it within here, which is kind of, it's harder, easier said than done, because we can't really, we could do this check, right, where we say, let's cycle through the current map's animatables, and we go and we just grab the frame number of the corrupted water that we're at, and then we can deduce which of the 4 frames we are on based on the number. If it's the starting frame, it's the first frame. If it's the next one, it's the next one. And then we can say, okay, well, now we have an index upon which to start the cleansed water frame insertion here, which is what frame we're currently on. If we look at the insert anim function, we actually assign the animation to be the ID here. And once we execute this function, it's on a global variable. So the cleansed water.frame is the global cleansed water frame that we're at. So as long as we insert the right index of frame, at least it won't be drawing. The timing might be, will be off by a little bit, but at least we won't be inserting it into a different frame than the one we start off at. And then it'll update over time because of the globalness. So, and the good news is anytime we insert this, if we do the indexing right and we grab the frame that we're currently on, it'll only ever linger on that frame for the residual amount of seconds until we start animating it. So I think this won't be that hard to fix. So let's take a look. And actually, this is actually, we won't need to pull it. Yeah, we won't need to look at the animatables table. We just need to pull the corrupted frame, basically. So like if we go here and we say that our water.frame is our corrupted frame, then we need to translate this. So we kind of need to say, if we take in a corrupted frame and we can ask, if it's equal to the starting water, water anim starter, and if it's equal to the water anim starter, then what did we do here? Why is this? Oh, if our corrupted frame is equal to the starter, then we need to have this local corrupted frame index. We can assign it to 1. We can say, okay, well, if it's equal to that, we don't want to change it. We just want to leave it at 1. We could just assign it just to be a little explicit. So we're going to say we are definitely frame 1 if we're the anim starter, and we can just kind of, a modulo would probably be a better way to do this, but if it's equal to, and I want, like, we should be able to do arithmetic here and say, well, if we're the second frame, then we're the second frame. And then if we're the third frame, if we're water anim starter plus 1, we're on the second frame. If we're at water anim starter plus 2, we're the third frame. And if we're at plus 3, we're the last frame. And then when we go to insert the very first frame, oh yeah? What'd you think, Scrinch? Did you like it? Dude, I first played that game when I was like six years old. Took me 8 years. I didn't beat it till 8 years later. So I get you. It really took me that long. I mean, I didn't play it every day, but like you have to kind of like really talk to a lot of people and go around. Yeah, we don't want to insert the current cleansed water frame, because if we look at the insert anim, that's just the starting frame, right? We literally just insert an animatable, which is an ID for the tile that we're trying to put it into. But you know what? Yeah, I think we leave this. I want to say, yeah, since what's in the function is a reference to the global, then anytime we execute it, it's going to pull from that global. So we still need that global to be nice. Yeah, the music really did stick with me, and yeah, it was such a nice little game, and it's like it's got enough going on, right, where it's got exploration, it's got unique tools and weapons, and then it's also got a lot of cool NPC side quests, and then it's got good dungeons, and then it's got a great story. So it's kind of got like a little bit of everything. So I really love that game. Yeah, I think what we want to do here is go into our cleansed water frame and assign it to be now equal to our corrupted frame index. We probably want to reset the timer here, but I don't exactly know, because I think that might do it. Let's see. So we're gonna press N here. It still changed it. Yeah, I want to say we might want to reset the timer. If we look at this is an animatable. Oh, an animatable. Maybe it's not an animatable. Anim spitter is what it is. So yeah, it has a dot frame, which is a starting quad. At least in the init. Okay. So yeah, I want to say we reset the timer too. Because now, by the time we insert this and execute it for the first time, we should have a starting frame of whatever. Oh, you know what? This doesn't make any sense that this would even work. Because this should render... Crap. This is totally wrong, because we need to insert the index of the corrupted... Oh, crap. Yeah, because it's like... I don't know. If we did a random frame in here, it should actually pull from whatever index frame we put, but it's actually just rendering our corrupted. Oh, see, that's what I'm looking for. Wow, that is silly. Wow, we're animating every single tile we've got, which is actually kind of cool. Wow, yeah. And it looks like it looped. Wow, that's really cool. Yeah, so once we change the frame, since the insert anim functions on a starting and ending quad, that's why it didn't ever loop, because it hasn't reached its ending quad. So it was cycling through, waiting until it reached its ending quad. So the idea here is one, this is the once it's cleansed, right? So this is cleanse the global water, which changes the starting point of the water, but the starting point is also completely opaque at this point in time. So, or transparent at this point in time. So we need something right here. Yeah, we need to do it right here. When we go and insert it for the first time, we need to pull it from this right here. So when we insert it, yeah, we need to do it right here. So we're going to pull these things out and do it in the insert cleansed water. So we basically need our corrupted water, no, our cleansed water starting point. So our cleansed water enum starter, but then we're going to shift it by whatever index we are. So if we're 1, we don't shift it. If we're 2, we shift it by 1. So we kind of need to do this where we can say, well, if, yeah, it's a bit much, but let's just see if we say, yeah, if we leave it like this, it should be unchanged where it just starts at frame 1 again once we've hit N, and it looks like, oh, see, but they come unsynced. Shit. They become unsynced. So this, because we're saying that the starting frame is the very first frame when we really want to assign the frame based on what our, you know, because we snag the frame here. Yeah, so we want to assign this frame based on what corrupted frame we're at. So I think we want to do this, something like this, where we can say, well, if our corrupted water is at the very first frame, then we want to assign our clean water frame to be equal to the starting frame. And if we're the next frame over, we're going to add 1. So we can probably get rid of that assignment. Shit. Okay. And then we reset the timer. Okay, this should work. We're just looking for it to not be all ghosty. We want it to... oh gosh, that's jacked up. Holy shit. That was very bad. Let's not reset the timer, because I think that is screwing up the timing. There we go. Oh, no. Oh, shit. We gotta be doing one wrong, right? Where we're saying, well, yeah, let's say, oh, we get this corrupted frame index. Okay, we're not using this just yet. But if our current water frame, the corrupted water, is equal to the water starter, then we want to reassign our cleansed water frame to be equal to the cleansed water starter. Okay. And if we're on the last frame, this should be 3 and 2, I think. Okay, there we go. Nice, pretty fade. Nice. Okay, so, yo, sounds good, Squinch. Yo, sounds good. I hope Brazil's been treating you well. Sounds good, man. Thanks for hanging. Yeah, get some good rest. I think this is right. I mean, we aren't resetting the timer, but I don't think that's... oh, shoot. It's still pulling the wrong frame. That one looked perfect. It's not bad. It's not bad, but if I get the timing weird, it looks weird. Yeah, see? Like, it looks like it's all jittery. Ooh. I guess I'm just not understanding why this issue is happening then, because the idea is, yeah, if we were to print up the frame, we would be on the same frame. So the issue is that once we reinsert the frame, that's the issue. Once we reinsert the function to draw based on the global frame, that's when it resets. So we need to pull this. Yeah, you know what? We need to pull this once we've inserted the function, but before we've executed. So once we do this cleanse water, once we have the function there, you know, we need to pull. This is weird, because we do need to say, yeah, we need to pull and save before we dump the animatables table. I guess it doesn't matter because it's in the global animatable. So we're gonna do that same thing, except after we've inserted the new functions into our animatables table, then we're gonna set the frame to be the current frame, because because these animatables have nothing to do with the global animatables, not with any of the anim spitters, I should say. Any water.frame or corrupted water.frame, that's an anim spitter. And we basically just need to say, okay, I know we inserted this function and we're going to execute them, which moves the cleanse water frame into the tile ID that we tell it to. We need to say, okay, well, that frame that we're going to insert gets modified based on the current water frame, instead of resetting this back to 0. Because I think in the insert anim, crap, I don't think this is it either, because all this is doing is assigning it into the ID. Let's try it. Let's see. Yep, still busted. Shit. Well, what's going on then? We're inserting new values into our animatables, and we're kind of repopulating them based on, you know, we're inserting a cleansed water frame into the animatables instead of a normal water. So the issue here is we hit N, it dumps our animatables, which used to have an insert anim function of a row and column for a cleansed water or a normal water. Just water is corrupted, cleansed water is blue. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's print up. Let's take this from the top and let's comment this out. And what we will do is just look at, we will print up the frame of both drawables and just see what we notice about them. So here, and it sucks because it's like, yeah, we would need it. Yeah, I guess we would need it. We need it both in our play state and in our tome success state. So it's just the way it is. So let's do this. This will be called water. Okay, yeah, this, you know, we'll say. Okay, and we need this both in our play state as well as our tome success state. So we'll just add that. Okay. So we're going to look at the numbers here. Okay, so see how they're kind of synced, right? They go 0, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the question is, once we hit N, we're going to be changing. Ideally, we shouldn't change these numbers. Like these numbers should be the same. So I'm just going to wait until we're on like frame 3 and hit it and see if it goes down. So I'm at what, 102? Yeah, the top number here. I'm going to hit it when it goes to 104, and we're going to see what it happens. So here we go, 2, 3, 4. See, it looked like it stayed the same. Oh God. Why, dude? I will never understand what in my Vim is kind of uncapitalizing things like that. Yeah, it looks like the same. What do we do? 48. Yo, why does it do this? Why would it ever do that? I gotta figure out what shortcut has been doing that. Yeah, I mean, we're getting the same global frames. We're getting the same global frames for our anim spitter. So why is it that it's jerky when it changes? The only thing I could think of, well, because then the weird thing is, we know they're in sync because they fade in nicely, so we know they're locked in sync together. But why do they look jerky? That is so weird to me. Yo, Brunked, what's up? Yes, we've got the whole upgrade system done. Now we're trying to script the cinematic for finishing the demo. So we're just having like, it's not a huge issue. It's just kind of bugging me, right? Like, so the idea is we cleanse the water once we play the right lute song, and it goes from purple to blue, which on that playthrough it blended seamlessly, but depending on the frame we push to cleanse the water, it kind of jitters like that, and I'm just trying to figure out why, because the anim spitters don't change. Like, the anim spitters are consistent, so I'm trying to figure out what is causing this. Yeah, it is. I don't get why it's so off. Gosh, that's not the right pixel font either. Yeah, that's the whole idea, is that the overworld level here only has corrupted water until you get the loot from past the dungeon and you play the correct song here on this specific scene. And then that is the kind of like Zelda magic music moment. You know, like that, the little like unlocking in the dungeon sound from Zelda, like it's like that, where it's like you solved a puzzle basically, and then it'll cleanse the water in the area here. So yeah, I'm excited for it. It's just like, you know, if you do it on the wrong frame, it kind of jitters, and I don't get why. Yeah, if you transition it at a weird frame, it just jitters. And I really don't get it, because we're the number we're printing here is the index for the anim spitter, is what I call it, is like a global value that is just, wow, I don't get it, because it, you know, part of me just wants to test and make sure, you know, like I really have to figure this out, so I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna write what frame number we're on for this, so that I can see what's happening, because I cannot figure out what's happening. So we've got frames 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we need the same for purple. I just need to see what frames are changing, right? So there's frame 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, it jitters back to 1 the very instant I press it. But then it updates as normal. So it's like, it's only wrong until it updates to the next frame. Gosh, that's like even more annoying. Yeah, it's only wrong for an instant, and then it switches back. So it is, yeah, it does keep the same tempo for the global. That's so weird. So what is it the instant we press it that it's rendering the wrong frame on? It doesn't even reset the cycle. It just it's because it's still on sync with what it should be. It's just that the instant I change it, it changes to the incorrect frame until the next delta time or something, and then it's back on track. So it's like it's only messing up for like 1 frame, the frame I change it, which is weird considering we're mainly just rendering. You know, like if we were to make the transition time slower for the fade in, it would probably look like we fixed it because it would have such a low transparency that it would look like it's fixed. So like, I'm not suggesting we fix it like by slowing it down, but I'm curious if we slow it down, if it would look like it's fixed. No, it still does this jitter thing. Because what's weird is that we're rendering on top. We're basically rendering the same normal purple water underneath, and we just rendered the blue water on top and faded in. So the fact that we can fade this in really slowly, but it's still messing up. Yeah, see, it's still flipping. It's flipping even though it's still on purple. So it'll go like 1, 2, 3, 4, and if I hit it right on 3, it's gonna go flip to like 1 and then come back to 3. So I'll hit it right on 3, and then it goes right back to 3. So it's still right, but it just switched for that 1 frame. So like, what is going on? It has to do, I swear it has to do with these animatables, because we're... Well, it isn't here because this is cleanse the global water, and that only happens when we're faded to transparent. So it's got to be right here. Yeah, when we go to insert it, we basically draw a cleansed water frame at the alpha transparency. Okay, so I mean, the issue is right here somewhere, because it's before we cleanse the global frames, which makes sense. Yeah, I'm with you too. And the thing is, we are changing state machines at that instant. Because I'm kind of with you. Like I don't think I necessarily saw a 1 right when it changed there. I think it just kind of glitched out just for a little bit. Yeah, it happens too fast for me to even tell. I'm trying to think of what could happen though. Because, like, I bet even if we didn't, like, let's see what happens if we don't even try to insert the cleansed water. I bet it's still busted, like you're saying. I think it's just kind of temporarily interrupted. If we don't even insert the cleansed water when we're in this state machine. No, you're good. I think you're right. Let's see. We're not even inserting water. Yeah, it's still jacked up, regardless of even inserting water. So the issue is, like, the instant we change into this state machine, it's not pulling. I don't know what it's pulling. Because even if it's pulling the global map, it would pull that frame 1. I can't tell what frame it is. It's too fast. I need to, like, record high speed. Try to record high speed real quick and see if I can see what frame it spits us out to. Gosh, it happens so fast. It does flicker to 1. It flickers to 1 for like 1 frame. Yeah, it happens so very fast, but it is on frame 1. Okay, so that tells me that we just need to run the insert anim function the instant we change. Yeah. Like we need to change. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, you caught it. That's good, because I think what's happening is because we insert a new animatables table for our success state, and it's at this point in time when we reset it to frame 1, and then, well, because that's weird that it's still keeping its old timing. You know, it's, for whatever reason, it knows it's supposed to be on frame 3, then 4 there. Oh, and we're still, gosh, we are still inserting the insert cleanse water. I must have accidentally turned that back on. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, it's something right here. Because why are we updating an animatable here? I don't know. I don't think we need this. Dot animatables. What the heck? Okay, so this insert animation class is how we get access to our anim spitters. But yeah, if I were to not update these animatables, do our numbers stop? It's gonna crash actually. It's like a super subtle difference. Yeah, okay. Uh-oh. Oh, we went back to... Okay. Oh my gosh. It's a lot. Okay, so it is because we pass through... Yeah, we pass in our insert animation to our animatables here. And we update them here. But why would that change the number? Like it changes on the very first frame. This is so confusing to me. Because we're not even hitting... Even if we're not even hitting the insert cleanse water, which we aren't right now, the fact is it's still inserting that frame 1 the instant I press it, the instant I change states. But then it goes back to normal. So it's like, by the time it hits this update, by the time it hits the animatable update, if we're not paused, it's back to accurate. But we need to do it right when we change, which is a little weird. I don't get why it would do this. Maybe, okay, maybe we just have to update the animatables before we update the scene view? I don't know. It would be nice if that's the fix. I don't think it is. I saw it jacked up. It's only one frame though. Shoot. Okay, so we're going to update the animatables table, which is basically just saying keep updating these numbers that I'm printing up on screen, and that's working. So that's working. The wrong thing that's happening is that the instant we press to change into this state, for whatever reason, our default frame that we render is frame 1 and not the global anim spitter frame. So when we go to render, gosh, and everything's deferred. Oh, everything's deferred here, like to the state machine, right? So like, I don't get what to do. Because anything we want to change in the render on the floor, it would be deferred to the scene or map play state or class. Like, it's probably deferred to the map class. And that's going to be pulling whatever default first frame. And then when we update the animatables, it gives us the better frame. So it's almost like, yeah, he did so good. And Brunkt, I did a website for Salto. So if you check out saltomanga.com, you can see his little portfolio and everything. Not little, but I just made that website for him this past week and a half. So he's got a website now with his art. So we're going to be adding, he does like a sticker club. So he's going to be selling like some stickers and prints of his art too coming up. As soon as I get around to building him that feature on the website, but we're working on it. But yeah, he killed it. So yeah, Tashio is on that website too, as a sort of portfolio show off, which is cool. But yeah, we're super happy with how it's coming out. We're trying to add more features. Okay, so my instinct is to just say, like, you know what, we just need to update this animatables table because it exists here. We just need to update it as soon as we change into this state machine. So we need to run this update before the very first time we change into it. I just don't know. This still doesn't really make much sense. What is causing it to go back to the global map? Shoot ads. What is causing it to go to frame 1? Because let's test, even if we were to say that this is just gonna be 255 on the water alpha. Let's say that. We can say 255 on the water alpha. So right away we're gonna see all of the blue water right when we click on it, and we make sure we insert our cleansed water here. Did it mess up there? It did mess up like one frame. What the So let's see. I feel like when we switch to this state, I don't know why, but I feel like and we can't even dig down. Oh my gosh. We can't even dig down into this state because it's all functions underneath the hood. Yeah, let's see here. Because even though we changed the state machine, it still has to finish this current loop before it actually changes. So I want to say if we can go to G state machine dot current, and then we can say let's go to the dot animatables and then go ahead and update with delta time and update it right away as we change it. Let's see. Did that work? Did that work? Did I blink? It looks like it worked. Wow, it looked like it worked. Yeah. Okay, so I think what's happening is we change our state as soon as we press N, but what happens in the state machine is it'll change to the state machine and then it'll continue to play it out, which is go ahead and render the play state still. And the play state still has the old. Actually, no, that still doesn't explain why that might fix it. But I don't get why, but it is looking like it's fixing it. Let's change our fade to come back in. Yo, so Brunks, I think I just fixed it on accident. I mean, yeah, it's working. I just don't get why what I did fixed it. So it does have that smooth transition now. All I did was I updated our animatables table as soon as we switch. But I don't know why that fixes it. Like, I thought to do that because the, you know, we knew it was right after that first frame. So we knew the change animation or the update animatables was actually working appropriately other than the instant we change it. So I thought, why don't we just make sure we update the animatables? You know, I think it gets screwed up because we cleanse out our we flush our animatables table. I mean, this is just in... Yeah, because as we do... I don't know why what I did worked. I really don't. Because now thinking about it, like... I don't know why it would work. I know, I'm like, I half of me wants to move on, but the other half of me is like, well, why? Because if it actually breaks things, like, I don't think it'll break anything, because all we're doing is literally updating a thing. Okay, well that's okay. No, that makes sense that would happen like that, because we're gonna be in a player cinematic state, which means we can't move until the thing is fully faded in. So once it's fully faded in, then we insert the global cleansed water, and then the blue water is there. So that is looking right. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say we just take the W. I'm gonna say we just take it because I did not want to be working on this very long, and we've already put a lot of time to it. So at least it's working. It is pretty now, and it's such a tiny fix. Like, for us to be on this for 2 hours, and it's literally just like, so it doesn't look a little jittery on the one time, partial, sometimes it looked fine, sometimes it didn't look fine. So I don't know. We're good. We're expert programmers. We're gonna move on. So let's do this. Gosh, we really do need a rehaul and just delete all of our old nasty code. We'll do that after we ship the demo and just kind of start from a clean slate. Okay, so before we forget, let's undo the export for the layered numbered tile. Okay, and just test it. Yeah, me and Brunkt. Yo, well, you did help me find that bug. Like, you were spot on in like catching the how fast it was like screwed up, which kind of indicated to me that it might be on the state change, which it was. So you did help me. Okay, cool. All right, so I think next, it'd be nice if we can get the Dark Temple, because we don't have the Dark Temple yet, and we can, we knocked out like a one bug fix today. It took us an hour 10 minutes, but if we can get one more feature in today, that would be a good success. Okay. Yeah. So we basically need, we're going to get rid of the debugging here, and then we're going to add a warp zone. Yo, Brunkt, it's literally just like it. Do you live in a place where you can step on those, we call them stickers, like little pokey outside sticker goat head things? Because bug finding is literally like, just walk around barefoot until you step on a sticker, and then you just need to pull it out and fix it. Like, that's all you can do, is just like stumble around aimlessly until you step on a goat head, and then and then once you find it, hopefully it's easy to fix, but most of the time it's not so easy to fix. Yeah, because like with a goat head now, it's like, imagine if you could only take out the goat head if you knew exactly where it came from and when it got there, because then you're like, okay, I can't just take it out. Finding it is the easy part in the two-step process, but you had to like deduce, okay, this must have come in yesterday when I had my shoes on and I walked over the carpet or whatever. Like, if you'd have to like Sherlock Holmes it instead of just take it out and throw it in the trash. So it's that's the only way I can kind of put it. But like, you really do just have to stumble around until you get shanked by a goat head. So there's no easy way. Okay, so yeah, let's try to add the Dark Temple today. I think that would be really fun. So we're gonna get rid of our debug here on the success state right here, and the play state. You know, it's only really annoying if it's very hard to fix. I'm not annoyed when a bug happens. I'm annoyed when I have to change a significant amount of things to fix the bug. You know, so it just depends on the severity. Yeah, it does feel good. It does feel good. But it's like one of those things where it's like, it feels good to take out a goat head because there's no longer a goat head in your foot. It would probably feel better to just not step in a goat head, but it does feel really good when you pull it out. Like when it stops actively hurting you, that feels good. But you can also argue just don't step on a goat head. Easier said than done, but in the programming world, there can be definitely. There are definitely times where it illuminates a bigger underlying issue that causes a lot more work, and ultimately it needs to get done, but it's not fun finding out that you did things wrong and you need to redesign things. So, yeah. Okay. So, I've got an idea. You know, we need to make a dark dungeon, which I'm envisioning. Yeah, and you know, like once we have the Tunic of Light, we'll be able to actually see what's in this dungeon. But since we don't have it yet, I think we can get away with just doing some faking. So what I want to do, we're going to add a warp zone to the Dark Temple. We're going to make it transparent so that you can't see the warp zone. Because right now the warp zones are actually bright green, so I can see them on like a scene change just in case I need to debug some stuff. But what we're going to do is we're going to add a warp zone from the Dark Temple to a place. Yeah, Brunt. Yeah, here. I'll pull a link for you. I'll show you how I learned. Let me pull it for you. I should have it as a Stream Deck button, but so yeah, this is in a scripting language called Love2d. Actually, the scripting language is Lua. The game engine is Love2d. So I'm looking for the video for you. Right here.
Hi, my name is Colton Ogden, and
So here, I'll send you this. So as far as programming goes, Lua is the most beginner-friendly programming language I think I've ever seen. Even, you know, it's easier than Python or anything. Like, it's very simple to read and understand. So I think it's a great starting point for anyone to learn code. And yeah, Balatro was made with this same stack, the same language and engine. So it's definitely viable, and I love it because the game engine's open source, so it's not going to charge you like Unity does. You can port it to Mac, Windows, and Linux, and Android and iPhone. So it's cross-platform. So that's the goal with this game, is I'm trying to ship it on 5 different platforms plus the web. So it's super powerful, and it's also really easy to learn and get started. So I followed that Harvard CS50 game dev course. I only made it like 3 episodes in though. So like everything I know is with only 3 episodes of knowledge from that YouTube channel, from that series. And I've just been teaching myself ever since. So because they eventually in that course go into Unity and 3D stuff, which I was like, I'm just sticking with 2D. So you literally build Pong and then Flappy Bird, and then a match game, and I didn't really watch the match game. So I really watched 2 episodes and a half, because the 4th episode is a dungeon game like Zelda. So that's where I got part of the dungeon shifting screen logic and how that works. So I modeled mine after how they did theirs. I just had to do it based on my tile set and everything. I've been coding since 2019, but I didn't take it seriously until like 3 years ago. So I've been daily coding probably almost 3 years, and then a little bit here and there for the 2 years before that. So it's about 5 years on and off of programming, but 3 years seriously. Okay, so I think we're gonna make a dark dungeon for us to go into. So I think we're gonna reuse this place up here, because this is where our old dungeon used to be, and we don't need that. And there's already bat spawns there, so maybe we can even just yeah, dude. Well, I don't know, because I feel like you can definitely get to the point where you can make Pong in a couple days. Like if you watch that intro video a couple times, like don't be afraid to watch it like 3 or 4 times, because once the stuff starts to kind of click with you, then you can start to envision how to make your own games. So I would say start with Pong and then just try out the engine, and then like tweak Pong to be slightly different and like just get creative with it, and then go to the next tutorial, which is Flappy Bird. And that one is harder, but also they walk you through it, and then if you can understand the logic, or if you could follow along the code, then you can probably start to make your own stuff. Because I started making my first game after Flappy Bird tutorial, and then I made that game for almost 2 years before I moved on to this new game. So it took, I'd say start small and try to do projects, try to do mini games that you can finish in like 3 months or shorter. That's what I would recommend. But that's definitely not what I did. I just spent like a whole year remaking an arcade game from scratch with no tutorial, and that did teach me a lot, but it was very tough. Yeah, I say we keep the bat holes here, because we do need bats. But what I do want to do is... Oh, shoot. The bats might screw this up. Because when the bats are cleansed, they need to fly on top of the top level tiles. I guess it's fine, because you probably won't be cleansing them. Anyway. Yeah. You know. The hole in which bats fly out of. They're born in a bat hole. They leave the bat hole when they get old enough. That's where that phrase comes from. You know, leaving the bat hole. It means you've grown up. Yo, Loki, what's up? Welcome. Okay, so we're gonna start from 0 here. We're gonna erase all the above ground. So the thing is with chasms and pits and stuff, chasms need to be in the above ground layer, but collidables need to be in the ground level layer. So we're gonna start from scratch by just erasing all this stuff, and we'll build out. And this is, this is like a fake dungeon. This is like for people who explore early on in the game. For them, they're gonna, if they read the sign, it says, "Hey, you can't enter here unless you have the yellow tunic, or it says don't enter without light, or something like that. And if they do enter, they're just going to be swarmed by bats, and they're going to fall into pits, and they're not going to be able to make it out of here, because this is actually like a faux dungeon at the moment. But it's I think of it, yeah, I do the art for the game. I do, which is a mixed bag of success, but so we can have these, yeah, you know what, yeah, anything we draw here will be, I guess we would draw the floor first. So it's like, where's a successful walking path? You walk in and you'd have to go like right away, and then you'd have to go up and around. And maybe we could put like a little, maybe we could put another room just up here. Like if you brave the Dark Temple without a light, and you happen to know what the path is, or you can actually make it through, maybe we could put a little something in there. Or maybe we just have some minerals you can mine. Yeah, well, hey, I mean, there's nothing wrong with dabbling in a bunch of stuff. Like, I say go try to do it. Yeah, I mean, I'm like a, master of no trade also, where I do a little bit of everything, but I'm not like fantastic at any one thing. I can't remember. I think chasms need to be on the above ground layer. I think they do. So I think what we'll do, I guess we can test it. Let's test putting chasms on the ground level layer. I think they won't register as falling if we do this. Well, so yeah, and the thing is, Brunt, it isn't supposed to be a riddle. It's supposed to be a comeback later when you get the yellow tunic riddle. Like, the riddle is outside the dungeon. It says you can't enter without light. And when you unlock the yellow tunic, it says your tunic can now light up your path or something like that. So like, that's the riddle that it's going to be. And then people just have to remember to come back. Okay, so let's just see what happens here. I'm gonna save this and export a global map, and then yeah, well, it's larger in the sense that it's later in the game until you figure it out, but not larger as in difficult, I guess. I mean, it's one of those things that's like, you just have to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Like, once you get murked in the dungeon there, you kind of just have to be like, okay, I just need to come back later. And hopefully that light bulb clicks off when you get the yellow tunic. Okay, so what we need to do is add a warp zone. Warp zone takes us not from a direct adjacent scene transition, but like warping us to another zone per se. So we need to find where we do this, and then find what scene, and then we'll place our little warp zone. So we do add, we do like an insert warp zone in the map declarations. Insert warp zone. Yeah, here we go. So we need to add a warp zone for the, oh my goodness, yes. This is it. We need to add a warp zone for the Dark Temple. And the tricky thing about this is it takes in 8 parameters, and it's a bit much. But we need to pull a couple of different things. So let's get some values here. It's going to be, we need the scene. If we look at this is a map 8.2, this is a 7.2, so we're looking for 7.1. 7.1 is where the Dark Temple resides, but we need the X and Y coordinates of the height to get it inserted in the right spot. So let's see here. So this is what, a 771? Okay, and then it looks like it is what, three columns over and 6 down, 5 down, 5th down, yeah. So 3 over, 5 down. That's where our warp zone needs to be, and it needs to warp us to 12.1, I believe. Let's see, because the warp over here, the refinery, it looks like it's right next to the refinery. So the refinery, whatever the refinery is, +1. So when we go to the refinery, we're going to a 111, so we're going to 112. So if it warps us to the refinery, this needs to be a 112. But then the warp zone needs to exist on the 7.1 scene. And then warp from X from Y, which is going to be, this is the X, which is the 3 over, 4 down, or was it 5 down? 5 down. And then the warp to X and Y looks like it's down here at the bottom, so it's going to be the same warp 2 as Ren's refinery, so it's going to be, what, 3.8? 5.8. No, 3.8 for Ren's refinery. Yeah, 3.8. Okay, so let's see if we've got a little warp zone in the Dark Temple now. I mean, it'll still be green. The warp zone will be green because see how that warp zone's green? So we basically just need to do the same thing for the Dark Temple. So we put it 1 too high, but the idea is you walk into it and we're in the Dark Temple. Now, we need to get rid of the treasure chest because that was an old test. 112. This is right. We're looking for a treasure chest on 112. So yeah, it is right here. Okay, so let's scoot down our warp zone by 1 on the warp from X. So that would be a 6. And then it took us to the right spot. And now we took out the treasure chest. So now the next goal is to make it very dark because it's the Dark Temple. So we're going to need a very, very dark top level tile here so that we can see how it works. Now, I'm kind of curious if... Oh, let's test the thing we wanted to, which was if the holes are pits or not. And we can change our spawn since we're testing this. Change our spawn to a 7.1 so we don't have to walk over there every time. Okay. So look, there's our warp zone. We can walk into the Dark Temple. And yeah, look we can walk over the holes. I'm curious if the bats come out. It doesn't look like they do. So we should probably figure out the bats before we do anything else. So let's go to our bats on 12.1. It should be in our map declarations here. We should be saying we should have a little thing for bats for this old dungeon. I think we might have taken it out though. Yeah, it looks like we did take it out. See, because there's like a lot of crap we need to do to just to get one entity on screen, but we've got the code for it, so like we can kind of mimic this here on the Dark Temple. So we're gonna say that there's gonna be 2 entities in the map 112. Well, we need to insert them first. Where do we do that? Right here. Okay, so how we do this is we say, okay, go into your map 112 entities table and insert a class type enemy, and the enemy has a bat animation, it has a spawn row and column, and we have to kind of set all that stuff, a bat spawn time, and then we need to basically change the animation as well as assign the states that go with the entity state. We probably want to pull that into the entity class anyway, but there's like a lot of sounds good, Brunked. There's like a lot of different types of entities, so I didn't want to clog down the entity class. So I guess we should, but it's just weird to kind of I guess we should, but maybe clog down the init with what types of state machine need to get assigned. So anytime we do this 312, it needs to be 112. Oh, didn't do it right. What the heck? Substitute 3 with 12. We need to change 12 first. Actually, it's 112, is that right? Okay, yeah. Okay, 312, yeah, it needs to be 112. Okay, so we're just going to worry about 2 bats for now. Let's get the coordinates that we need. It needs to be a column 1, row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 5. Okay, let's see if we have a bat now in there. I think we should. Nice. Great. Okay, great. So now we need the falling tiles. We probably need a second bat up at top there, just to make it a little, the player isn't supposed to get here just yet. So we're gonna make it pretty brutal, and I think we need to make it basically impossible to see. So like, I think on the, how would we do this? Yeah, we basically need to, because even if the player can see a little bit, then they can see the path, and then they're gonna try to do it. We want it to be so damn dark they can maybe barely see the bats, and barely see themselves. Like, they should be very dark too, which I think we can get away with in the above ground, in the top level tile. So it's tricky because we need we basically need a walking path that is black, because even if we darken this to like 99% opacity or 1% opacity, it'll be too easy to see the pathway, because all you have to do is see any pixel of difference. So I think we want it completely dark, and even our player is going to be super dark. So okay, so yeah, I think what we want instead is we'll go to our ground level, and I'm gonna erase all these for now, because these need to be, we basically need those walkable ground tiles, which are these ones right here. These ones are actually walkable, so we're going to say that you can walk on the ground even though it's pitch black, because it's so dark you can't see anything. So these are the ones you can actually walk on. But in the above ground, that's all of our actual collidables. We need to say, this is the one, actually, this is the one that you can fall in, but it has to be on the above ground tile layer. So it looks exactly the same. This is a special room, right? Like, this is a special room that you can't see. You can't see what you can walk on. So if we export this as a global map, I'm going to learn my lesson and save this too. We should be able to walk on the pathway. It's like a Indiana Jones. Oh, come on. Yo, what up, C-boy? What up, C-boy? Yo, we're doing... Okay, I think we need these. We need unwalkable tiles. No, it'll be falling tiles. So I guess for now, we can put these here. This is a little jacked up. So we fixed a bug for our scene transition for our cinematic. We fixed the last bug for that, so we've got that working. Now we're just working on the Dark Temple, which is supposed to be very hard, and you can't do it yet. So there's an invisible path you can walk on, but we're gonna render dark over. I'm walking actually pretty close to the real path because I remember how I drew it, kind of. But the goal is we're going to darken this so much that you can't see where you're walking, and that paired with the floor actually being black lava, you're just gonna, the goal is you come out of this level saying, I really should have listened to the sign, and the sign said you can't enter without light. Or it should say something like, don't enter this dungeon without light or something, and if you go inside it, then you'll find out real quick that it's death. There it is. Okay. So I happened to walk the path, but we just need to darken it up so that it's really, really tough. Because even if you happen to know the thing, there's not going to be a room here for you to come out to. So it's basically just a teaser for the yellow tunic when you get it. So we do need a second bat. We need a second bat coming out of this bat hole here, which is an X of 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1. So let's do that. So Dark Temple, we have a bat here. I already forgot. It was at 4, 1? 4, 1 was it? We're going to insert a second bat into this same scene. And it's going to be at a row of 1. I want to say 5. I can't remember. Let's see. We're looking for this second bat to come in here. We're looking for a bat at the top hole there. Okay, it was off by 1, so 4. It's nice though that we can add, bats like this easily and stuff, so I think we're going to replace the there we go. That's nice. Oh my gosh, yeah, they're going to screw you over. Wow, literally just knock your ass out into the overworld. Okay, I don't like that you can't walk into this thing. And I would also like it if we can tweak the warp zone just a bit, because you trigger it a little too easy, I think. Like if you try to walk right there, you trigger it. It'd be nice if we could do a custom warp zone size of a box. Let's take a look at our warp zone class and see if anything like that exists. We have a warp zone, which is we have a width and a height and an X and a Y for the warp zone. So we can just modify the warp zone to be a little bit different than its initialized position, and then we can kind of get it placed right. And we need to make sure that our when we go and render the entrance to the Dark Temple, which is right over here, we have this in the above ground. And if we look at our map, it is actually in, because it wasn't walkable, it wasn't walk-inable until today. So we had it here in the collidable map level, but we need to do it where it is actually in. And what we can do, I'm gonna put it like, I don't know, we're gonna put it here. I kind of want to give it, I want these hidden spaces, or these dungeons from the ground, right? Because like there's dungeons that you go that are in a wall, and there's dungeons that are on the ground. So I kind of want this to be a neutral color instead of green, and maybe some transparent, so that we can give it a base level of, like, let's say sand or stone or grass in this case, and then we render the hole on top of it so that some of the grass shines through in these transparent spots, but it also is color agnostic a bit. Like, I guess we would just make it like a darker green sort of deal, closer to black. I really like the find and replace feature here. We can say, take this green and make it darker. Let's do HSV here. Yeah. And then cool. So yeah, like I want it to work on any surface. So if we have that, we can dump it on top of a grass. So we can erase this one and put it's right here. We can't see it, but I can put it right there. If we were to save and load this, we can see what we just drew. There we go. Oh, it's nasty. I don't like the dark green now. Yeah, that looks gross to me. Shit. Alright, well, we'll leave it. We'll make a custom one. We'll make a custom one when it comes down to it, if we don't like the shading on that still, but it's not a big deal. Okay, so that's in the above ground. So now let's test. All we'll do is add a shrinkage to the warp zone. So now, what the heck? It's still a collidable object. Yeah, it should not be a collidable object. I think we drew the wrong one still. Well, let's see. I think we just didn't export the new map. So we put that in the above ground. And then we export a global map here. And then it should be walkoverable no matter what angle you come in from. And then we'll just shrink the warp zone. Yeah, cool. So now we'll just shrink the warp zone on that thing. So let's go to our global declarations and we'll go to the Dark Temple. We need to, once we have, oh shoot. Because this is like a helper function, right? Insert warp zone. So after we insert the warp zone, we'd have to do the shrinkage. Oh, I guess we already have it. Okay, so we'd have to say, you know, if we look at what this does, it goes into the warp zones table and it inserts 2 warp zones. So we would just want to trigger the first one. Yeah. So we should be able to go into our 7.1 map. So we can say our map at 7.1 dot warp zones. And then index 1 for the warp 2 warp zone, we want to modify its width and its height. So we should be able to say something like this. Let's see if we can do, we're going to say that the width and the height, and we're going to do like a double expression assignment here. So we're going to say width and height is equal to 4 and 4. So it should assign 4 to both the width and the height. See, look how tiny our little colliding warp zone box is, which is great. So that's actually not bad because it's like that shouldn't walk you into the dungeon, right? Because you're keeping your space, but as soon as you walk up into it, it'll trigger it, and then it safely puts you out of it so you don't get stuck. That's pretty good. So I guess the question is like, is that okay? You know, is that okay to not trigger a warp zone? That should probably trigger it, right? So maybe 5.5. That maybe should trigger it. Let's just give it a width, a little bit bigger width. I think the height is good. So we'll say the width is maybe 7. Height is 5. I like that we can tweak the size of the warp zone because that's really helpful. So now we trigger it. That looks about right. So look, that's not triggering it. That's pretty good. If we go here, that's not triggering it. That's pretty good. If we go here, that's probably the last frame we want not triggering it. And 1 frame over looks like it triggers it. So yeah, you can make it so far. Okay, so we probably want, I think I want this other bat too, just to be really scary, just because like this should wreck people when they come in here. So let's add this. It'll be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the X. Yeah, 7 on the X, 8 on the row. So we need 1 more bat. So it's 8 on the row, the last row, and then 7 on the column. So let's see. We should get that 3rd bat. Now I kind of want, the player. Yes, we got all 3 bats in there. Oh god, yeah, that's very dangerous. and there's holes all around you. So yeah, this is like a forbidden room at this point. Gosh, we need to fix that bug too. The bats should respawn. Maybe we don't give them a respawn time? I'm forgetting how we're doing the respawn. Basically, we had it where in the bat's flee state, we had it where What did I just do? What the heck? Oh crap. Okay, I accidentally deleted some stuff. Let's see. Okay. So yeah, I thought we had it where in the bat flea state, yeah, we have it where if they exit, they kind of reset their original position. So they become spawning again. They reset their spawn timer. They reset their state. And then they update. So unless we're... No, this should be it. I mean, they're not respawning though, so why do we have entity count? We don't need that. We kind of just do a table.insert into 112. Yep, 112 gets them all. Okay. I don't know, the bats should respawn here. This is like an Indiana Jones walking on the invisible path thing. But the idea here is it's going to be so dark you can't even see. You're going to be able to barely see the edges of the dungeon and also barely see your character. So we're going to... That's like the last thing here is we need to kind of do... We need to do... Yeah, I want to say we need like a 90 or 95% transparent black so that we can do the top level tile here. Yeah, top level tile. Let's do this. Yeah, let's say, I don't know, maybe 225. Let's do 230 and see. I don't think that's dark enough. 240. That's probably too dark. 235 maybe. Let's try... Uh-oh. Let's try 235 here. So the idea is we'll draw this all in the top level tile, and then that'll be rendering on top of our player, and hopefully it looks like a dark level. So if we look at our Dark Temple over here, and Dark Temple would have to be somewhere else because we need it to expand into other places, but for right now, it's okay. We go to our top level tile, we render that, and we just draw our top level tile all on the whole thing. So it should darken up everything. Cool. So let's try that. We're going to export it as a global map. And we're going to see if our Dark Temple is dark. Oh my god, yeah, it's dark. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking... It is dark. But also, it's like, it's pretty apparent that you can see the wall. You can see the walls, but not the floor. So it doesn't look like Yo, what cape are you talking about, Brunt? Yeah, fuck. And the bats change render order layer to be on top of the tiles, which isn't good. Oh yeah, so here's the this is the tunic of light. So if you've got the yellow tunic on, it's supposedly gonna light your way. I don't have that made yet, but this is like the teaser room. The teaser room that like if it'll say like you can't enter without light, and if you do, you'll get screwed. And then basically once you get the tunic of light, you're supposed to be like, oh, I can now come back. But there's a couple issues, right? Like the doorway, we're rendering on top of the doorway, and we can see the warp zone here. So part of me thinks we need to make like a different drawing for the above ground layer for these. But I think that's overkill because that's only going to be I don't know. It's tricky on a couple fronts because the bats you know, it might just have to be pitch black or like very close to pitch black. It's already hard to see, but it's supposed to be very, very dark. It's supposed to be, yeah, because basically once we work on the tunic, it's supposed to work as like a shader that illuminates around your position. So I haven't done anything like that yet. So I think ideally it's going to be close to pitch black on anywhere that isn't around you for the shader. So I don't know what that looks like just yet. So I kind of wanted to make it very, very black. Other than the player, right? Like, yeah, part of me thinks we just draw it pitch black, except our player is like half dark. So maybe our edge walls are, shoot. Okay, so I'm thinking we have a bright doorway to come back out so that you can see the entrance, right? But yeah, it's gonna be so dark. It's got to be so dark you can't see the floor because everything is death around you. Oh gosh, yeah, our tunic render is all off. It's you're not supposed to be able to do it, Brunk. You're supposed to come back with the right tunic. So it's supposed to be just apparent that you can't beat this part without being able to see, because the next part of the Dark Temple isn't even available yet. You know, we just started building it now. It's not ready. It's not supposed to be ready for the demo. So we're just trying to like tease out that like, hey, there's a Dark Temple here, and you can't quite win just yet for it. So yeah, and then the other thing is, oh god. The other thing is you can still exit back. Yeah, you can still turn back. It's just that right now you can't really see the entrance. So I might want to do, I don't know. I think I want completely dark edges. I want the bats to be almost invisible, if not invisible. Just so dark you can't even see them. But you could hear that they're hitting you, or you know, the player's going to know that they're getting attacked because they're going to fall and get hurt and get, you know, they're going to hear that sound and stuff. So I think we need, I think I want to just blacken these up other than this doorway, we need to make like a bright doorway with a black overlay, because that's the one that isn't going to be a top level tile of mostly dark. So let's take it one step at a time. We'll try to make this less dark because I want them to be able to see themselves, right? They should be able to see Tashio, not very difficult. But everything else is super dark, so maybe 190. Let's just see what that looks like in terms of what it looks like rendering over Tashio. That's pretty good. But then we want like a darker level, right? And then we need to get the rendering order for the bats better. I'm gonna get some water, be right back. Okay. I'm not too like, the only thing I'm really worried about is here the bats render. Their render order renders on top of the top level tiles if they are done spawning, and that's so that they don't render underneath the pathways, like the doorways and stuff. So I'm a little worried that we can't figure out how to get them to render dark. Or we only render them. Shoot, I don't know. Yeah, we need like a little option to say, hey, render them under the top level tiles as well, so that this level they can render appropriate. I don't exactly know. But let's make a temple entrance that has like a light path outside the front. And we kind of have this already. We've got this as like a starting point. We've got this doorway, so we would just need to mimic the doorway color. It should probably live with the other cave doorway art. I am so sorry, Brandt. So sorry I put you through that. Even if you like it, like, no one should have to deal with that. So we need a ground level of just the light so our player can walk on top of it. then an above ground layer of, yeah, so the difference, yeah, the player still renders above the ground. Oh, it's not very easy. It's not very easy because our player will stop being rendered dark walking over this unless we give up. You know, we can kind of shimmy it. We can kind of shimmy it downwards. I don't know. I don't entirely like this, but I don't want to also change how we're rendering the rest of the game just based on this temporary dungeon. So I think we're just going to kind of makeshift it for now. Because basically, this is going to be the doorway, right? For shimmy? Shimmy or shimmy? I don't know what you're talking about, man. Yeah, I think the move is we rendered this down. Okay, so in effect, that will just be our ground level tile. But also, shoot. I don't know, I think I want it pitch black. I think I want it pitch black. Oh, gotcha. Some high calorie tea. You know, got that tea with the high calories. I gotcha. Yeah, part of me thinks... Yeah, part of me thinks we just want to go pitch black. Minus the bats. But... I would like it if the bats could be rendered dark like us, but still visible. But when they're not spawning, they also don't... Yeah, I don't want them to render on top of the shade. So let's just try this. Oops. You know what? Yeah, instead of erasing this, I should be painting it black. So yeah, this will be our bottom level tile, and we'll scoot it. Because the thing is, we don't have the ability... And we might add this in the game because this is like the second time I've come into this problem where we kind of need 2 layers of above ground level, because right now the tiles that are allowed to render on top of us are limited to the tile. Like there's only room for 1 tile on each layer at each location. So if we wanted to be both under a wall but also be rendered dark because it was shadowy, then we either need to control that with shaders on the entities or another layer. So we might, I think we'll probably end up going with the shader method, but I haven't got there yet, so it's a little tricky. Okay, so we have like this doorway that leads back to outside. So let's go reload our tiled. Okay. We're going to change all of these ground level layers to be non-collidable, actually collidable black, so we can't walk and do a scene transition, but it's like pitch black. And then on the ground level, we need, right now, this is specific. I mean, the whole game, the demo is part of the whole game. Like, so the demo is just the first part of the game. So I'm making the game right now, but focusing on the demo. Like, this part that we're making right now is technically in the demo, but it's more of a teaser for the rest of the game, because it's like, you're going to walk in here, it's going to be pitch black, bats are going to be flying at you, they're going to kill you, and you can't beat this part yet in the demo, like, actually by definition, because it doesn't lead anywhere just yet. So this is just like a teaser placeholder for the Dark Temple, and that'll be unlocked once you get the yellow tunic. Oh, I didn't do the top level tiles. Yes, see, it was very dark. Nice. Okay, everything except the bats, right? Well, and our spellcast entities also not being affected by the dark. That makes sense, though, because, like, the fire should be bright. But yeah, this is how I want it to be. Like, you keep falling if you don't know where to go, and even if you do know where to go, there's nowhere to actually get to, because it's just blocking you in. I do want the bats to respawn, but yeah, okay. So let's see if we could modify our warp zone so we don't see it. It is nice that we can see the entrance. It is rendering the entrance under the top level tiles. Actually, no, it isn't. Okay, that's okay. I'm happy with that. Yeah, no, I kind of do want it to be like that. Like, by the time the real game is out, it will be kind of to that point where if you were good enough, you can make your way through, but every room is going to get harder and harder because you don't have the visibility to actually solve the puzzles. So it technically would be possible if you knew exactly what you're doing without the tunic by the time the end game. Right now it's locked because I'm not about to develop this part because it's not ready. You know, I'd rather finish the demo than build a part of the game that isn't accessible yet. But I agree with you. I think that would be cool to let them get as far as you want. If you're good enough, you can do it. Okay, so we need to try to render the warp zone itself a little lighter or transparent. See, we set this color green. What we can do is say that there's going to be a color and we're going to set it to green. And we're going to draw our color based on our self color. And then we should be able to modify the color manually. So we're still rendering the green, but if we wanted it to be transparent, because I like the green because it helps us draw them and debug them. So I like having them default to green, but then once we have the warp zone for the castle here, or for the dark temple, yeah, we want to go and say, well, the warp zone dot color is actually transparent, and we should be able to make it transparent. So it's still there, but we can't see it, and we crash. Because width is a table value. Oh, yeah. Not this. Well, actually, the double value assignment we want to do is both warp zone indexes, not both width and field height. There we go. Okay, it's invisible, but there it's visible, so we need to kind of do our second index here. So we'll say this. We'll say both the warp zone 1 and 2 color both get transparent, and then that should do it. Shit. Warp zones 1 color, warp zones 2 color. When we insert warp zone, it does do a 2 warp zone insertion. So we should have... Oh, we need to do this. No? The fuck? Okay, let's just do it one at a time then. Oh, yeah, no, this is actually okay. It's not... Yeah, it's not that... It's at 7.1, it's actually at 1.12. Oh my god, okay. There we go. Nice. Okay. Great. It's almost done. It's just the rendering on the bats and the respawn on the bats. So... let's take a look at our bat pursue state. It's a bat walk state, because, you know. Okay, we should have this thing. Oh god, I don't remember where we did this. We changed the render order of the bat depending on its spawning state. Oh yeah, the bat hole. The bat holes are good. I'm happy with the bat holes. They actually... Yeah, you know what? They actually aren't flying out of the bat holes right now, are they? Yeah, they're not flying out of the bat holes. You're right. Okay. Yeah, in order to make them fly out of the bat holes, we need to make like this, however opaque black, and then shape the bat hole. You know, sculpt the bat hole just the way we like it, and then draw it over. Yeah, I think that would help. I like that they come out of the bat hole, so we will probably have to do that too. Let's see if we can figure the render order layer first, because we're close. We're close to done. I don't know where we do this. We do this, like, if not spawning, we render it once. Render entity. What the fuck? Okay, in our map. Oh, see, look. We have this. If we're not off screen, we render the entity. Oh my goodness. We turned this off, this and entity spawning. Because I think what's happening, I don't remember what's happening. Like, I remember that we did this. I just don't remember where the other relevant line is. There's not enough b-hole action in this game. So I think the darker the b-hole, the better in this case, in the Dark Temple at least. Okay, let's see. If we turn on this spawning, I think it'll screw up. Well, it didn't fix that, but I'm also curious. I think it'll screw up these bat holes. Now, I think the issue is that, and it's hard to test this, but like, they're actually rendering underneath. I don't know how to even test it. Let's see if they render underneath the crate here. No, still over it. Okay. Okay, well, we definitely have a line of code somewhere that is saying in spawn state render above. We have to have a, you know, because they are changing whether or not they're spawning. So how are we rendering? How are we changing the render order layer if they're spawning? I just don't see where we're doing that. Oh, right here in the scene. No, unfortunately, Brunked, it doesn't quite work like that. I do have it working on the phone, so you can play it like a Game Boy. So it is totally different because it's just a different language and hardware. So you can play it on the web like it's a Game Boy, and that's the closest we can do. But I do want to make a Game Boy game eventually, like a legit one. But that's down the line, you know, so we'll figure it out much later on. This is it. We have it in our map and our scene. So I'm going to leave us a little note here that says this is like bat entity order layer or something so that we can find this place again. But basically what we're doing is the map is the current thing we're looking at, and the scene is a reference to the current map as well as the next map if we're transitioning. So what we're doing is we're saying in the map, let's go ahead and render the entity like normal. But then in the scene, we're saying, okay, if the bat is done spawning, if we're not spawning, then go ahead and render the bat again on top of the map. And the map is what everything's kind of contained to in terms of render order layer, other than the player. The player is also in the scene because it needs to render under the top level tiles. So that's where we're doing it, where we're saying let's render it if we're not off scene, but then here in the scene we're saying what? Spawning right here, render it if we're not spawning, render it again. So if we were to take out this not spawning, then when we are spawning it wouldn't render. Well, yeah, let me see. Yeah, if we were to take this out, then I think... Yeah, I'm really interested in that too, Brunked. I think it would be really cool. I think it'll just be bright bats. Yeah, just be bright bats. And this would also make it so that they don't render underneath the walls and stuff. There was a guy, Brunked, who did like a modern Super Nintendo game or a Nintendo Entertainment System game. And he kind of documented it. It looks awesome. Like, it's super cool. I forget what it's called. But there is someone out there who's done that for Super Nintendo or NES. Okay, yeah, this... Shoot, man. So basically what we need to do is... We want to keep this as normal because this is working for our normal dungeon. Because we need to render it under a top level tile if it's not spawning and over if it is. And the only way we can do that is by pulling it out into the scene. So I think the move here is to add a little boolean to the bat entities. And if that boolean is true, saying it's a dark bat or whatever, then we kind of just... We would need to also add and not entity dark bat here in the scene so that we don't accidentally render him on top of the top level tiles. So it should set him in under the top level tiles. So I think if we do this and not dark bat, so if dark bat is true, then it won't render these. So let's try to add dark bat is false or nil. Let's do that on entity class. Yeah, I want to say when we do this, dark bat is just by definition false. But then also when we define it, it'll be false or what we define it as. And then when we go to define it, map declarations, when we do our thing here, we can say dark bat is true. And then kind of just add it just like that. So let's see, we should be able to see dark bats. They shouldn't pop in now. Oh my gosh, it worked. It worked. Okay, so does it work? We still need them to respawn because they need to be a threat, right? And these guys should work fine too. These guys should change their render order layer. Yes, it rendered on top of the bat hole there, which is good. Okay, so we need two things. We need dark bat holes, dark bee holes added, and then we need also respawning bats. So I don't get why the bats aren't respawning as is, because if you look at the flea state, I want to say, as they fly off, we do this if we're not blocked. Reset original position, and we don't become blocked unless there is a... Yeah, I don't know why this would... Because we don't have to do anything for bats to respawn other than, what, the spawn timer? Because once they flee, then they reset their original position. And then reset original position is kind of defined as they become spawning again. I don't know, man. I mean, this is how we're respawning every other bat in the game. So it would just be some kind of difference that we're doing with our other bats and not our dark bats. Let's see here. I'm gonna go to the... I'm gonna just see if the bat respawns here. Yeah. Okay, so like, what are we missing? We must be missing like one little thing in the entity definitions, I would guess. But we're pulling... Let's see. Yeah, I mean, this is all our same stuff. Yeah, unless we're missing some value from one of these. Spawn timer. Maybe spawn timer? Are we missing that? No, we have it. So yeah, we have a spawn column row with high dark bat health. Spawning speed type corrupted enemy spawn timers 1. We've got 3. Yeah, that looks all right. So why would... Not sure why we wouldn't be respawning here. We could print up in our play state what the X position is, or start debugging that way. Yeah, it should reset its position. Unless... Yeah, we insert 3 bats and then we cycle through all 3 bats. Yeah, and we do all this. Okay, so, I don't know, we're close. We're close. I guess just print up. You know, we can try 1 bat at a time and just print up the values of its X position and just kind of start debugging that way. So we have 1 bat. So let's go to our play state and we'll just debug in the render function here. And we would have to ask if it's... Yeah, it should exist, so we should be able to say that we want to go to the map and it's like a 113, right? Or 112? I think it's a 112 dot entities. index1.x. And we'll cast it to a string. So yeah, it's a -32 on the X. It'll fly in. Its X position updates if we cleanse them. Oh, don't knock us out. Don't knock us out. Yeah, he's not ever triggering. So he's just flying off screen. So it's like it's just not, he's not triggering back to. How do we do this then? Because in our flee state, I thought we were saying, you know, if it's not blocked, then go ahead and reset original position. So we're not resetting original position. So we must be blocked somehow. We're only blocked if there's a collidable map object in front of us. Oh, there is in front of the bat hole, actually. But we could do this block check only if we're not a type dark bat. That should fix it. Because I think, yeah, when we had to draw the dark one, we added... I don't know. Let's see if he resets. No. 57, we get screwed. Yeah, I'm trying to understand, because it thinks the bat's blocked because there's a collidable map object right in front of the bat hole. But what is in front of the bat hole is a spawn, or a hole, a chasm. So, oh shoot, man, 58. Not self-entity dark bat. Okay, we assign it to false by default, so I don't know, this should be okay. Alright, that's not it. I don't know, this should work. Because we're pulling entity from here, so maybe... We shouldn't crash. We should have a value. We should have a boolean for that. So we shouldn't, yeah, we shouldn't crash. Okay, well, let's debug our dark bat boolean. Did we give a dark bat to every... Well, you know, we define it in the entity def. If we don't define it, it's false. So it should be... Yeah, it says it's true. Yeah, dark bat is true. Okay. Our flee state must be kind of flushing our table or something. Like, we get a dark bat entity. Let's say, yeah, we pull the entity from the self entity. So let's not do this. Let's just say we're going to do this check only if... So if we're off screen and our entity dark bat is false, then we're going to check for blocked. Yeah, I don't know. We shouldn't crash here. So we've got a legit value there. Well, the thing is, this shouldn't even cause it to be blocked. You know, if we were to print up whether or not it's blocked, I bet it would say true, even though it should say false. So if we were to print that up in our play state, we say, you know what, are we blocked also? Did we print up? Yeah, blocked. Okay, so the bat is not blocked correctly, yeah. Okay, so I think well, it's not blocked, so it shouldn't have an issue resetting its original position because it's not blocked. And it pulls from... Wow, it just really doesn't ever do it. It doesn't ever set its unblocked position. So why? It's got to be, you know, if we say what state it's in, the entity's got... does it have a state? I think we have a state name. Yeah, dot state name, so flee. Let's make sure that we are a state name of flee here. So it should be spawn. Uh-oh. What the heck? No state? What's going on with that? State name. State name is flee. It's on this. It's on the It's on the bat flee state, not the bat itself. So it's almost like this should be on the entity itself, not the state. Uh-oh. It'll probably crash here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, just very wrong. We want the state name on the entity to be flee. I mean, so it's pulling. We know it's pulling this state. We know it is. It's just that we don't ever reset our original position, and we know we're not blocked. We're false on that. So we reset our. You know, here is our reset original position is here in this loop, which we're just cycling through our collidable map objects. Okay, so if we're not in if there is no collidable map objects, we need to become by default. We need to reset original position if we're off screen and there's no collidable map objects. So we need to just say if it's like that, we could just say if we're off screen, then regardless of Well, we would have to check, you know, if we're not blocked. This is gross, but I just want to see if it works. If we're not blocked and we're off screen, go ahead, reset that original position, because we are only doing that in the list of collidable map objects, which in this room there are none. Yeah, Brunk, check out that Google, you know, CS50 game dev and watch the Pong episode. And if you don't like Love2d after watching that Pong episode, then game dev probably isn't for you. But there we go. Bats are spawning again. Okay, so if we just had any collidable map object at any location, this would probably work. But yeah, so like if you watch the Pong video and you're like, I don't like this, then you probably won't like game dev. But if you watch it and you're like, ooh, I could really like this, then just hit the ground running. Yeah, this is the issue is we don't have any collidable map objects. So we kind of just need a collidable map object, I guess. We can put a boulder just to make it work in the top right corner. It's a little weird that we have to do that, but I don't like the nasty fix I just did there, so I'd rather just add a boulder and call it there. So let's say, yeah, we should have a declaration. We should be inserting a boulder at some point. It's a collidable map object, so yeah, we're gonna go to our dark temple and we're gonna say, let's go into our map 112 dark temple collidable map objects and give us a boulder at what, 7.2, very top right. We'll probably be able to see it dark. Yeah, not 7.2. We want it at 9.2. Yeah, no, that's fair. And the deployment, Brunked, is like, the deployment is at a space where it's actually very easy to break the game, so I haven't really prioritized that yet. Okay, so we've got oh, let's test the respawn. It should respawn now that there's a collidable map object and it's not blocking any of the bat holes. Okay, we'll try to, oh god. Okay, we cleanse him. He should come back. Yes, he spawns back. Now, if you get to the end, you just kind of push up against this boulder and you can't do anything. So it's kind of like there's at least something there for you to be like, okay, I don't think I can do this yet if you make it to the end. But also it'll be harder because we're going to have the other bats spawn in too. So we could turn on our other two bats here. But yeah, Brunk, all of that, you know, for the demo, I've got to polish up all the game-breaking stuff there. Oh my gosh, yes, lots of bats. And even if you kill them, they're going to start respawning in, and it's going to be pretty relentless. Yes, that's pretty good. So even if, you know, I drew the invisible path, I know where they are, and I'm still, like, get my ass handed to me. Yeah, so maybe like a spawn time of even faster. Well, this is fine because like it's, you know, if they get in here and they want to get this far and push a boulder into nothing because they can't push it, that's totally fine. And it's very dark, you know. One thing I don't like is the one thing I don't like is how far down the entrance is to the Dark Temple once you're inside, like the exit. So I do want to just adjust that a bit because it is lower than it should be, or lower than it normally is, but I just didn't want, since we don't have the top level rendering on top once you walk out, I didn't want it too high up like this. So hopefully this looks better. It's just that the collision detection on the bottom really looks wrong when the doorway's that low. So I just don't want people getting stuck on an invisible corner. like this, you know, like that's like a little bit better. But it, you know, this is fine. This is fine. Okay, cool. Yo, this is awesome. We've got a dark temple that you aren't supposed to be able to access yet. You still could if you're crazy. You would just fall into a lot of pits if you don't know where the line is. And you can't really do anything. But you could, if you happen to know the path, you can well, yeah, you can do that. And so basically you walk up and it says you can't enter without light. So it's like, okay, I'll see about that. And then you're like, oh shit, it's really dark in here. Okay. I like it. Sweet. So I think I'm gonna call it for tonight. I think we might plan out a couple of big next step stuff. So this is really good. We fixed our bug for the cinematic for finalizing basically the end of the demo. When you play the right loot song at the end there, we're gonna trigger that cinematic, and then our global water tables are updated. We need an ability to add that into the game so we can save our progress with the blue water. But what's most important right now, because I think yeah, exactly. Timothy. Praise all. Yeah, I think the big next step is probably to either do the global map sprite sheet so that we can draw more complex miles in the overworld, or get the inn working. So we need to add a bed to the inn, as well as an option to buy a bed to sleep at night to recover your health. We could take that out altogether because, well, there's no getting hearts in this game at this moment. So we probably need to add hearts to the crate, and it's like a 50-50 shot if you get a heart or a coin in a crate. And then we can decide, yeah, I think I do want the inn, because it's like there's no way to spend your money at the moment, so it'd be nice if they can at least spend their money on topping off their health. So I think we need to fix the so I guess we aren't done with features in our game yet, because we need to add the ability to purchase health in a bed in the inn. And then once we have that, we can build out the rest of the exit of the first dungeon. So once you get your way out of the dungeon, you have to push a boulder with your green tunic to unlock a little space that maybe has some geckos in it, and maybe has it has a treasure chest with the first tome. And that's basically like the ticket to beating the demo, as long as you can play the song correctly. And we still need to add the song, but we've tested that ability and it's pretty good. We just need to literally just translate our song into game code, which is kind of tough. But yeah, other than that, and polish, obviously, we're in a pretty good spot. So hopefully we can get the inn done in a day. And if we can get that done in a day, then hopefully we can get the map declarations for the exit of the tunnel. Well, yeah, we'll probably take a day or two to draw any last overworld sprites we might need. And then we can start building out the actual location of the loot and the kind of final layout for the demo for the overworld. So I think that's the next big step after we get the inn done. So let's tackle inn next, and then we can kind of like, we'll draw out the little getting stuck spaces. If you try to go too far up north, you'll run into that purple river that is blocking the bridge. And then if you try to go down into the desert, there's just a sandstorm and you can't walk down there in the sandstorm. So that's blocking your way down there. And then in the ice mountain, it's going to be blocked by something. I don't know what yet. So maybe we just block it with something temporary. For now, we can maybe put a boulder there so that you need the green tunic at least. But then even once you get that, that's not going to unlock the ice mountain biome just yet. So maybe what we'll do, we'll have it where if you have the green tunic and you didn't play the tome yet, you can still push the boulder up to get to the Arctic mountain. But then it gets too snowy and you can't walk, just like the desert, right? Where it's like it's too snowy and you can't get up there just yet. Because the idea is every biome you have to play the song to calm the biome so that you can unlock the next one. So they're kind of off limits. They're too dangerous until you kind of balance one chunk of the world at a time. So I think that'll be that'll be nice, because then it's like, oh well, the game, there is stuff over here, but since it's the demo, you can't quite reach it. So we'll have to plan it out like that. But progress is going good. We'll run credits here and we will find someone to raid and call it a night. Thanks for hanging. I'll try to get out here before the ads run again. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be working on the bed and the inn so that we can hopefully finish that. Let's see. Salto's live. We're rating Salto. He did the art for the game in the background here. He did the official art for the Steam release. So we got a friendly bet. Well, we got not really a bet anymore, but we're just kind of holding each other accountable for our projects. So we'll raid out and give him a what's up. Thanks for hanging, y'all. I'll be back tomorrow.